Tuesday, and this stranger came in. I couldn't recognize who it was,
I know it's been a while, hasn't it?
but Heather has made her way over after finding one or two or three or four dead batteries in the vehicle pool, and so
Hey, that's all right. Made it over here
made it
anyway.
there. No problem getting over here. A lot of water out there, a lot of standing water. I know that,
Yeah.
but a lot of
Yeah.
creeks, I'm sure, are pretty full.
Oh, yeah, I bet they are.
You can just drive there by Pigeon Creek on the way down, and you can take a look down there, watch that water flying down.
It's just rushing through there,
I'm
isn't it?
sure it was.
Huh.
I'm sure it was. But you're the one that saw it, not me.
Yeah,
If
well.
you were looking down when you went over the bridge. But I always had to look up there because that water goes down to Montauk and just keep picking up, and then that gets all that, and then that raises down there, and well, it gets a little bit. That can get a little nasty. But anyway, we did have a good steady rain and a lot of things going on which have softened the ground up. And they're talking about some wind conditions, and Heather, we all know that winds, power lines, and trees don't all get along, especially when the ground gets this soft. Some of these trees, it doesn't take much to uproot them.
That's right. Especially when the ground is real saturated, like you just mentioned. When that ground is softer and then you've got the high winds, boy, it just makes it that much easier for those trees to topple. And a month or so ago, we had some of that up in Mountain Grove area. We had a lot of downed trees.
They got hammered, didn't they?
They did. They really did. And we had a bunch of broken poles and down line. And it was just, there was so much rain. And that ground was just wet. And the conditions were right. And that wind came through and did quite a bit of damage. So, yeah, that can absolutely happen. That's never a good scenario. It's not something that we look forward to happening. But our crews are prepared to make repairs when stuff like that happens. And really, as far as our members are concerned, the best thing they can do is give us a call and report those things. We appreciate their willingness to help, and we do have some really just fabulous members. And I know they want to help move line out of the way, or, they want to help kind of clear off the road. Those power lines tangled in with tree branches and they're hard to see. It's
Yeah.
hard to differentiate.
And with
So,
wet conditions, you don't have any
No.
idea what's out there.
no. So please just call and report those things to us. Let our guys get out there and make sure those lines are de-energized and they can get them moved out of the way and start to get them put back up and
Right.
really just take care of things.
Just be cautious, especially if you live in an area where water does sit a little bit. I know in my yard, I had some ponds out there this
Mine
morning.
too.
So if you've had that, because our ground is still fairly saturated,
It
even though
is.
the top was getting kind of hard.
After this weekend,
Yeah,
huh?
so but down a foot down, it's still wet. Well,
Right.
that top might have sucked up as much as it could, and it has nowhere else to go, so it's going to run off. So again, kind of keep that in mind. If you do have electric pole trees and things of that nature in your yard or vicinity of your yard, that you know that there's lines out there, just kind of keep an eye on it, because if the winds do pick up, they're actually supposed to be much worse out west than they are here. But they could gust to 30 miles an hour, and if it just hits right now with leaves on the trees,
Might catch
it puts a
some
little
of
bit
that.
more resistance,
Yeah.
and it can push it down, especially some of these trees that don't have deep roots yet that could fall.
Right.
So let's be very cautious about that. But stay inside. Don't go out there and admire what has happened that nature did when there's electric lines down. That's just not a wise idea. Stay where you are, and if your electric is out, obviously you may not be able to use your smart hub to send anything in. Your intercounty power might be powering your internet, and that might not do it.
Right.
So use your cell phone. Call them, or if you have smart hub on your cell phone, tink, 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 and let it go. And
That's right.
and let them know that you have an outage, and they'll put you down on the list, and they'll get out there as quickly as they possibly can and to find that problem.
That's right.
Things just don't really change even with COVID-19.
No,
The service
it's
is still there, right?
Service has always been there.
Still there.
So
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the annual meeting. Everybody would have all been pumped up. Been about 2.5, 3 weeks away. Everybody had been all excited for the big intercounty
I know.
food frenzy picnic.
And it's not happening that way.
No,
No.
not even happening at the end of June.
No, it's
No.
not. So our members, they've gotten used to that traditional intercounty picnic, what they call it. It's not Intercounty's annual meeting. It's
Well,
it's
it
the annual
is,
picnic.
but it's a picnic.
I know,
too.
but
It has
to-
so many services.
Right. To our members, it's a picnic. It's a social event, and especially a lot of the more local members, they really look forward to that last Friday in June when we're able to have annual meeting. And as you mentioned, there's more than just that business meeting. You know, we've always had the meal and the entertainment. This year, our board decided to make sure that we're keeping everyone safe and healthy. That first of all, they've postponed that. That was the first decision that was made. And the new date is going to be Friday, August 7th. So that's the first big change. It is not the end of June. It's going to be Friday, August 7th.
First Friday of August. I'm going to keep that date.
We are going with that date.
Well, I
Yes,
don't mean
that's
forever now, right?
No, not forever. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I imagine
Because
it's
first
probably going to
weekend
be
in
pretty
August, that's
hot.
going to be pretty warm. Well,
Yeah. We've had some hot days the end of June, but I imagine
yeah.
this year's
well,
going to
this
be a
Friday
little
would have
toasty.
been a sticky day. If we'd had it
Oh,
this
yeah.
past Friday, it would have been a very sticky
Yeah.
day. But
Yeah.
it could have been worse, but it was still pretty sticky. But again, even though they are going to reschedule the meeting, it's still not going to be the same.
It's still not going to be the same. And actually, we've got some more details since the last Rural Missouri has come out, and those are going to be shared in the July edition. But the event is actually going to be held not at the park where it's typically been at. There's an empty lot kind of catty-cornered from the licking office at the corner of 137 and Deer Lick Street, right there at the park, sort of across from
Right.
the new pharmacy and the gym.
Right.
Intercounty owns that lot. We maintain that lot. There's nothing there. But we're going to hold the annual meeting over there. And it's going to be a sort of drive-up, if you will, annual meeting. We'll have a marked entrance to that field. We'll have Intercounty employees at those entrances registering our members from their vehicles. We'll get them registered. We'll get them their ballot as they pull in. We'll have some employees helping park those members that do decide to go ahead and join us for annual meeting. We'll ask members to stay in their vehicles, and we'll have a tent set up at the front of that field where our board members will be conducting the business meeting only. So there's not going to be that entertainment or the crafters or the
Right.
meal or anything, but the business meeting, which is required by our bylaws to happen annually, that business meeting will take place. And we're going to do what we saw a lot of churches do during the heavy COVID-19 days. They use those FM transmitters to broadcast sort of a,
Low power FM transmitters.
yes, a short range.
Yeah. Right. 1 watt.
Yeah, I think it's like 300 feet, maybe, I think.
That's about it. Yeah. We just had a church buy one that could go to 6 watts and found out he goes, wow, we can go to 6 watts. I said, yeah, you can, but then you have to apply to the FCC for a license and follow all their protocol, and that's going to cost you a lot.
Oh,
and
yeah.
paperwork too.
Yeah.
He goes, we'll stick with the 1 watt.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be, like I said, very short range, but we're limited to that lot space. And to be honest, Dan, we don't really expect that a lot of members will decide to join us in person just because of the limited meeting that we're going to be holding. But we'll have our members that are there tune into that short range station. They can hear the business meeting going on, and as they leave, then that lot will have the ballot machines there. They can feed their ballot through the machine and vote for their directors and for or against the proposed bylaw change. So a lot different than what we're used to, but it's temporary. It's this year, and I know our members are not excited about this. We are not either. We'll be ready for annual meeting 2021 to kind of get back to quote
The way it's supposed to be.
normal
I don't
annual
think
meeting.
will ever be the way it used to be to a point. I think people will stay still a little bit distant in the future, but I think you'll see still a lot of hand sanitizer and things of nature when people get within close proximity. Doesn't
Right.
hurt anything.
Right.
So go ahead and do it. One of and it's a shame that we can't have the annual meeting as it always has been. Unfortunately, though, Intercounty's doing the best they can to still provide the service that's required by the bylaws, still have that board meeting, and still keep it open to the public.
Yes.
You know.
And we'll be mailing packets out to our members. I believe it's like Friday. Hold on, I'll look here. Friday, July 24th. So that last week of July, members should get a packet in the mail that's going to show them last year's financial reports, last year's minutes. We're going to have some short little director candidate bios, some information on that proposed bylaw change, and then their ballots so they can vote by mail. And that's going to be the easiest way to participate in your annual meeting, is going to be to vote by mail. And the only drawings that we're going to have, I mean, if anyone who's ever been to annual meeting knows that we do drawings periodically through the day, and we have different giveaway
For that
items.
free electric.
We are still going to draw for the free electric,
Okay.
and that'll be the only drawing that we have. What we'll do is we'll take all those ballots from, not the ballots, but we'll take all the registration cards from the members that voted by mail, and then any members that do decide to join us in August, we'll take those registration cards from when they come into the lot. We'll put those all in one pot, and we'll draw out, I guess it'd be 7. We'll have 7 different electric credits, the $600, the 2 200s, and then the 4 100s. So we'll draw from those, and then we'll share that information, different radio stations as we visit later in August, but also then we'll put that online. We'll put it on our website, Facebook page, that kind of stuff. So, and then obviously if you won, we'll be contacting you.
Well, that's good.
We'll give you a call and let you know
Well,
that,
thank you.
that your name
I'll
was
be
drawn.
waiting for that call.
Oh yeah, I see how you took that, didn't you? I said if you win.
I thought you said when you win.
Yeah.
Must-
And I was looking at you, so yeah.
But you're not looking at anybody else
I
right
know,
now.
I know.
But anyway, it would be an honor to win, but chances aren't always very good to do that. But it's a lot better this year. Probably won't be, without as many people. Some people will probably forget, but do vote. But it's a whole thing. You don't want to pass up the opportunity to let your voice be heard. That's still part of what we do here in America, is vote.
Right.
So go ahead and vote for your directors of your choice and be there. And if you want to attend the meeting, you are more than welcome to come. But remember, it's going to be a little bit different.
Right.
Make sure you got plenty of gas, because you probably want to keep the car on. That air conditioner
The
may
air
be
conditioner.
running.
Yeah.
You may want that running. It's not going to be like the old Steak and Shake curbside service with a tray on your window.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember,
Oh.
you probably don't remember the old drive-ins where they used to have the speaker you stick in the window. You
No,
don't
never
remember that.
experienced that, but I've seen movies.
Well, you've seen the movies, but if you never experienced it, it's just horrible sound. It's just
Oh, is it?
terrible.
So it
you know?
wasn't good.
Well, no. It was a metal speaker. You stuck it in there, and so many people would drive off and just rip that sucker right out,
Well, that's
That's
fun.
what's the problem. Now they just do it with the FM transmitter, which makes it easier. So,
Right.
so much easier. But if you do want to attend a meeting, again, that will not be at the park. So kind of keep that in mind. I'm sure you guys will have signs up.
Yeah.
Don't go to the park.
Right.
Intercounty meeting this way and
Yeah.
up 137.
It may even, just kind of thinking out loud, it may be even a good idea to have an employee over there to help direct people for those that might show up and wonder where to go.
Probably.
Might be worth having someone set up over there to
Have one little booth
direct them back
at the parking
across
lot.
Maple,
Yeah, at the
across
parking-
63.
It's not that far away. It won't
It's
take
not.
you but a minute and a half to get over there,
Right.
unless there's a lot of traffic on 63 or something, but you have to
Yeah.
wait a little bit. But again, it's just going to be different, but the result will still be the election of your directors and things of that, your members. You definitely, as a
Right.
member, have that right to vote, so make
Right.
sure that you take that.
And we've had really good vote turnout the last couple of years by mailing out the ballots. If you remember, you had to cut out that request to vote by
Right,
mail
your
and send it
proxy
in and then wait for the ballot.
Oh, yeah, you had to send that in, didn't you? And you guys sent a ballot after you got the request.
After we
right?
got the request, and we might have had a dozen, usually fewer than that, vote by mail, that method. In the last couple of years, we've made sure that all of our members have received a ballot in hand, and we've had over 2,000 returned mail-in ballots. So, that's increased voter participation, and we know that by holding this on a day during the week, there are a lot of members who cannot get
Can't
off
make it.
work, and we want to make it easy for them to be able to vote, and this year's no different. So hopefully we still have good numbers as far as mail-in votes, and I really do think that we will, because
Good.
it's easier now, and we make sure that all our members have those, and they do want to vote. They want to participate. It's just
Sure.
that they've not been able to make it, and the process was a little complicated before by having to send in that request. So made it a little bit easier and increased our participation, and I think this year will be the same.
Plus, the governor said it was okay to vote by mail
Yeah, well,
in the elections this year. So you would have to.
we would
open
have
it.
had to have opened it
Yeah,
up. That is
absolutely.
true.
So anyway, okay. So August 7th, at the lot across the street from Intercounty Electric
At 9 o'clock.
at 9 o'clock, not 10,
Right.
not earlier.
Yeah.
9 o'clock, and so registration 9. They're going to have their meeting at 10. Is that what?
No, they're gonna
have the meeting
they're
at
gonna
9?
start the meeting at 9
because it's going to be hot.
because it's gonna be hot.
So you need to get there a little bit before that. So you're going to open the gates when? 8,
I'm not-
8-ish.
I'm not sure. I'm sure we'll have people over there that early, but not.
Okay.
I doubt they'll.
Since
they'll
you're
be
having
ready.
nothing else,
Right.
why get there early?
Yeah.
For
There's
better-
plenty of That's a huge lot.
Yeah, I was going to say you don't need to. And if you're in your car, you can be fairly close to each other.
Right.
And you don't have to keep 6 feet between cars. You do usually keep 4,
Yeah.
3 to 4.
Yeah.
But stay in your car, keep the air on, and listen.
Right. And we'll have those packets that you receive in the mail. There'll be one part of it that's going to have your name and account information and that barcode. So if you bring that registration card with you, then pulling into the lot and getting registered will be easy. The
a
ladies will
snap.
just scan that. Here's your ballot.
Too much sanitizer.
Too much can't snap as well, huh? But
Yeah, it does really change the thing when you sanitize.
yeah.
It just doesn't pop anymore.
Well, I don't know what to tell you,
We
Stan.
have to get different sanitizer. over
Yeah.
there. I have to find some good stuff. Anyway, but that's going to be August 7th. Everybody, if you have any questions, please call Intercounty. But your packet will be coming to you late July.
Right. Should receive that last week of July.
Okay, very good. So there you go. That's all done did. Put behind sign. Now, unfortunately, and we talked about this on the phone last time, but I'm just going to bring it back up. We did have some nice winners for our normal trips that would have been to Washington, D.C.,
We
and
did.
also for Jeff City. Some really good kids that really put forth the effort. And then, again, that's what we always talk about, the effort to do this. And I know that we just touched on it, but unfortunately, because of the situation we're in, they are not going to Washington, D.C.,
That's
nor are
right.
they going on the trip to Jeff City, right?
That's right. And
So they will be given, though, some remuneration by Intercounty for their effort.
right. We wanted to make sure that those kids were still honored and we were able to do something for them, even though those trips were canceled. So our board decided to go with a scholarship for each of those students. So the top student from each school, the one that would have went to DC, they were awarded a $2,000 scholarship. And each of the runners-up from the schools were given a $500 scholarship.
Very
So
good.
we realize it's not the trip, it's not the experience, and we would have loved for them to have had that. I mean, it's really, we talk every year about how irreplaceable that is,
It
just that
is.
experience. And we realize we weren't able to give them that this year and really wish we could have, but this was a way to still show them that we appreciate their effort, because we've talked too, there's plenty of times where there's not even a competition really at the school because
Yeah.
there's not more than 3 that participate. So the ones that do take that extra effort, they do deserve to be recognized. And hopefully this kind of gives them a jump start before their senior year and encourages them hopefully to try for other scholarships and do well their senior years. So little something, even though what we traditionally do was not available.
Well, I'd say it's the thought that counts, but this has gone on for quite a few years where Intercounty has, done this. We really hope that if you have a child that's going to be in school next year, that's going to be hitting the right grade to participate, because you can't say, well, my child's a freshman, next year going to be a sophomore, I'll have them do it. No,
Doesn't work
it
that
doesn't
way.
work that way. You have to wait till they're a junior. And the thing is, though, is that Intercounty goes to all the schools. They talk with a
That's
lot of
right.
the people. Talk with some of the students directly through assemblies, and
Yes.
sometimes the teachers, and sometimes counselors, and whatever. And gang, this is just it doesn't take you. It won't even take you 30 minutes.
No, it's a very short essay, and I guess we probably should have touched on that. What we ask these students to do, if you're not familiar with our youth tour program, we ask them to write a short essay 250 to 500 words, so it is not long.
No.
You can meet that word requirement in a page easy. And the topics the last several years have been fairly opinionated. There's not really a right or wrong
And more
answer.
up to date, too.
Yes. So
Something current.
we asked the kids to write about what type of job they'd like to have at an electric co-op and why they were interested in that specific job. So there's not a ton of research on specific topics. We want to hear what the kids have to say and what they're interested in. So we asked these students to write that 250 to 500 word essay, and then the school narrowed those down to the top 3. Mm-hmm. That's what got them where they're at. Just that very short essay about what kind
That's
of
right.
job they'd like to have at the co-op.
And sometimes they're the only one person's the only one that turns it in.
Salem was in that boat this year.
And a couple years back, Rowlett had nobody
I
turn one in.
know. It's just
Not one person turned one in. So again, let's keep these kids on board, and again, it's just on a rainy day like it was this morning, you could write that in no time.
Yeah.
It'd be over.
And I understand that these students are busy. I mean, they're halfway through their junior year. There probably is a lot of pressure to be making decisions, and
It's January when they get the chance to do this. Don't
But
tell
it's-
me how busy they are.
I know. I'm trying
Because
to.
I mean, they may be participating in sports and FFA and different things. Yeah, absolutely. You don't tell me they don't have an hour to set aside to do this and possibly go to Washington D.C. Give me that opportunity. I'll write the essay.
Right.
It won't take me an hour. It won't even take me 10 minutes. I might have to correct my errors, but
Yeah.
But the idea is I just don't think enough emphasis is put on it. Or they don't realize how important this would be to take that trip. Now, unfortunately for these youngsters this year, that didn't happen, but that's still a $2,000 scholarship, nothing to sneeze at.
Right. And they can still list on, when they're looking at college applications and their resume, this is still something that they can put, that they were selected as a youth tour delegate
That's right.
with the cooperative youth tour program. That's an achievement that they can list and that will be recognized, and hopefully that helps set them apart from other students that may be applying for
Exactly.
the same schools or the same scholarships.
Exactly. Sometimes the volunteer things actually get you into school more than the things you're required to do.
Right.
So when you go out of your, we'll say, normal zone, or you go out of your comfort zone, maybe might be the better term, to do something that's outside the box, just not expected of you in high school, you do tend to get more attention by universities. For example, if you volunteer to help at a food kitchen, if you volunteer to do stuff and help out, get a group of people together and decide to go weed eat a street. Trust me, when
That's
universities,
noticed.
they see those kids and they say, we want those kids, because we don't have to tell them to go to school. We don't have to make them do things. They'll do it on their own.
Right.
They want those kind of students. Yeah, they always want the brilliant students that can, figure out a new cure for COVID-19. Wouldn't we all, right? But
Yeah.
at the same time, though, when you got hardworking students, those are the kinds that make your university look good.
Right. And that's the kind of students that participate in this program,
That's
because
right.
most schools it is optional. We've got a handful that the teachers are very much on board, and they just incorporate this into their curriculum. They know that we come every year and that we ask the students to write an essay, and these are English teachers, so they just have that as an assignment. And then
Which is a good idea.
it's graded, and then the student can decide if they want to submit it for the contest or not, which the majority of them, if they're going to write it anyway, they're like, well, yeah, go
Sure.
ahead and
What do I
we'll
got
see
to
what
lose?
happens if I make top 3 or not.
Yeah, what do I have to lose?
But the majority of these schools, it is optional. And I think, too, and I've tried to stress this the last couple of years, I think a lot of times, especially these bigger schools, what'd you say? You've got 100 and some in a class here in
Yeah,
Salem?
125,
125.
something like that.
I think when we go and we talk to these students and we tell them that we'll pick the top 3 out of their junior class, I think sometimes they're intimidated by that because they think, I'm not one of the top 3 writers out of 120 some students. And so they just think, I'm not going to make
Intimidation factor, you say?
I'm not going to make top 3. I know there's more than 3 people here that can write better than I can. there's not 125 people that are going to write that essay. And as we saw this year, Martin Jones, he's a Lone Ranger over here in Salem. He's the only one that took that effort. And talking about these students that have that initiative to do things on their own, that really is an indication of the type of character of this young man. So kudos to him. And if you're
Absolutely.
family and you're listening, then you should be super proud.
Yeah, absolutely. We always like to spotlight these kids, and of course they do. They go above and beyond. So that's what we want to make sure that we honor them. Do you have all their names?
I do. Yeah.
I know we did it last time, but let's go ahead and do it again.
Yeah. So I'll just read off the students from each school. The student that I read first will be the top
the winners that would have gone to D.C.
The winner that would have gone to D.C., the one that has been awarded that $2,000 scholarship.
Okay.
So in Kabul, we have Olivia Sheets and Dahlia Cannon. Mountain Grove is Kylie Shepard and Adrian Thomas. St. James is Trey Riley and Chloe Rogers. Plato is Wayne Lang. Over here, right here in Salem, again, we've got Martin Jones. Licking is Sam Sullins, Matthew Funk, and Haley Britton. Houston is Emily Scott, Jesse Wilhite, and Christian Leonard. Summersville is Brett Gimple, Zeb Howell, and Gavin Yearwood. And finally, over in Rolla, we have Caitlin Kleffner, Kayla Decker, and Victor Nam. So congratulations to all those students.
Congratulations to all those students. Very good. Okay, so next January, you're going to start hearing about this again. And next February, you need to write it.
Right.
And there'll be a date sometime near the end of February. It needs to be submitted. So we will bring that back up at that time again. And we're hoping that maybe we can get a few more kids to do this. It's just too neat of an event to pass up.
And this is not just an intercounty thing, and it's not even a statewide. This is nationwide.
Yeah.
So intercounty, we're fortunate enough that our board is very, very supportive of this program, and they want to make sure that they're sending students out to DC. We send the largest group from Missouri. We send 9. As long, you mentioned the year that Rolla didn't have anyone. We only sent 8 because there wasn't a student actually from that school.
Said 9.
But we tried to send 9, one from each of the high schools within our outermost service boundaries. We send 9, but the state of Missouri, there's around 110 students from the entire state. Those are all high school juniors that have won the essay contest.
8% come from Intercounty?
At their local co-op. And then once they get out to D.C., there's around 1,500 high school juniors from across the nation that gather out there for this program. And it is organized so well. I mean, it's a smooth operation, and your students will be well taken care of while they're out there. So if you're a parent and you're listening, please know that it's not a free-for-all once they get out there. There are chaperones, and it's structured, and it's an experience they're not going to forget.
They will be amazed. Trust me.
They will.
They will be amazed. All right, well, let's move into another topic because the meeting has changed. Yeah, we hate to say that. Our annual meeting has changed from the end of June into August. But also a lot of the fall festivals and expos and things this year, they have been canceled or postponed.
Right.
So that also affects Intercounty because that's another place that the one-on-one interaction between members and workers happens quite a bit.
And some of those have been canceled. Some of them we've been told just to kind of be on standby that as it gets closer, they may have to cancel it. So a lot of that's up in the air. But we certainly, that opportunity to talk to our members is something we look forward to. So hopefully we're able to be at some of those and still have those conversations. But if not, and you have a concern, please give us a call. Mm-hmm. Let us know that way.
But I think Intercounty personnel really enjoy that more.
We do.
I mean, I know the other people. I like to talk to you guys as well because I always find out something new or something I did not know. Usually with a conversation, like, oh, I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah.
Or I wasn't aware that is what really happens. So you do get to learn a lot more about how guys respond to different things, what Smart Hub can do. You can find out about little things, find out about all the different things with prepaying your electric and
Right.
meter and watching your meter. You can find out how much you owe, when you're going to have to pay, different things. You can find out about levelized billing. You can find out about automatic bill payment. You can find out about virtually everything.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
without that, and it's because it's neat usually because you guys are in a one-on-one basis, then nobody's in a hurry.
There's not a rush.
You know, you're walking through, you're maybe looking at exhibits, and then there's the Intercounty booth. You come over, maybe get an ice scraper, a pen, or whatever it might be you guys have that year, and then you get a chance to talk a little bit. And I think every time I've ever gone there, say, how's your service? You got any questions or any problems?
Right.
You know, most people don't, but
Right.
every now and then somebody does.
Yeah. And we need to hear about it when they do so we can make efforts to fix that. And
Compliments are always welcome as well.
well, yeah. Yeah, we do enjoy the compliments. But in all seriousness, if there is a concern, we do need to know. So we appreciate the members who do take the opportunity to share those with us so we can try to make things better.
Yeah, very good. So, again, most of those are still all up in the air at this stage. I don't know. I know some have been canceled, but I know some have been postponed and may still be held regular dates or later in the year.
Right.
I know a couple have talked about actually moving it back into September or October, so don't know how that's all going to work. All right, so one of the things Intercounty did when we had the COVID-19 that many of the electric companies did, and matter of fact, the Public Service Commission actually kind of forced some companies to do it. Intercounty is not part of the Public Service Commission.
That's right.
So they could do this, or they don't have to do this, was allowing people who were affected by COVID-19, whose businesses were shut down, whose livelihoods were cut off, basically, because you can't go to work because of this, allowing them some leeway in their bills as long as they contacted Intercounty.
Right.
How long is that going to continue, or have they made a decision on that?
They have made a decision on it, and we've started sharing this with our members. Beginning July 1st, Intercounty will start to, we will enforce, thank you, our late fees and our disconnect policy. So that has, since the end of March, we've waived all penalties. There's not been any late fees added. There's not been any disconnects. We know there were a lot of our members that were affected.
I'm sure.
Their jobs were affected by COVID-19, and especially a lot of those members that worked in service-related fields. So there were no disconnects. There were no penalties added. Beginning July 1st, those policies will go back into effect. So those late fees they'll be applied if the bills are not paid on time, and then the disconnect policy will be back in effect. Now, we know that some of our members, as they've not been able to pay, they've got
Built
a balance.
up a nice balance, haven't they?
And that can be intimidating to pay all at once. Fortunately, many of our members have been paying what they can as they've been able to, and that's helped them to not have this huge balance all of a sudden that's going to be due. We're asking that members who cannot have their balance paid in full by their due date in July reach out to us and let us know by the last day of July. So by July 31st, we have to have a signed payment agreement. Okay. And we are going to work with our members. So if you know you're not going to be able to get that paid by the last day of July, you need to contact us. We need to work out a payment arrangement. We'll get that written up, and then you can either come into one of our offices, or we can mail that to you, but it does need to be signed in order to be an official payment agreement. And as long as you have an official payment agreement in effect by the last day of July, then when they do disconnects beginning August 1st, actually I think that's a weekend, so that first week in August.
Probably August 4th or 5th.
Yeah, when that starts to take place, as long as you have that signed payment agreement in effect, you'll not be subject for disconnection. So
Okay, so
just communicate with us.
Right.
Let us know. And
now you can do that a number of ways, right?
right, so you can always give us a call at 866-621-3679, or you can visit our offices. Our lobbies are now open. Those did open yesterday. We're asking that only 2 members at a time be in the lobby for now. That way we can maintain social distancing. And
What about all the offices in the auditorium? Have you guys all moved back in your regular office?
well, I'll tell you what we've done. We
Okay.
have moved our employees back into their regular spots in the office,
Okay.
but we left the setup in the auditorium.
Just in case.
Just in case there happened to be a flare up, or someone at the co-op had a positive test, then we still have those workstations set up,
Okay.
and
Well,
we
good
can
idea.
very quickly move back out and separate if we need to. So the auditorium is still not available for rent if you're looking at
That's my next
right,
question.
if you're
was
looking
gonna
at places to be able to rent for different family
be. So
get-togethers.
that's on hold until they feel comfortable
Right.
taking it down.
Right.
And I don't know when that will be.
I don't either. I wish I did,
Yeah.
but no. But for right now, the auditorium is still closed to the public, just so we have that space available.
Mm-hmm.
And it allows our board directors, when they meet, they're able to meet out in the auditorium. They each have their own table. They're spread out. That way they're maintaining social distancing as well. So, yeah, unfortunately that's not available to the public. Offices are open again though, so just be mindful of how many people are in the lobby, and we ask that you just kind of wait to go in. And if you call before and let us know, hey, I need to make a payment agreement, I've got this balance that built up, and I know I'm not going to be able to have it all paid by the last day of July, which gives you plenty of time. We're early June right now. Whoever you talk to on the phone, they can get that payment agreement drafted up and have it ready at the front desk for you, so that when you come in, all you have to do is sign it. They'll get you a copy of it, and then we'll have a copy on file as well.
Okay, so option 1,
Is to
make
call.
that happen. Make that phone call. You can do it by email or not.
Yeah, you could. And
Sure.
there's Smart Hub. There's that contact us field, so you can contact us. Probably what'll happen if you do that is someone will reach out and call you instead of
verify.
trying to email back and forth. It's just easier a lot of times over the phone or in person.
Okay, so you won't scan it, send it to them to sign, and have them scan it and send it back.
That might be a possibility, Stan. I'm not sure what
Okay.
our
Well, I'm
what our
just,
policy
I'm just
is
kind
on
of
that,
curious.
if it would have to be notarized or something. But you can certainly ask if you're needing to make a payment
Don't you have a
arrangement.
signature card? Then you can match up. I thought when I signed up with Intercounty, I had to
They
sign
took your
something.
ID.
Yeah, I had to
Newer,
sign
more
something.
recent members, we've got that ID. But
Well,
you're
I'm
talking
not a
about
I'm not a
you're
re-
talking about the agreement, the
Yeah.
membership application. Yeah.
I was gonna say I'm not a new member. It's going back to '84, but I had to sign something.
Yeah.
I know it got transferred to me. So,
Right. I don't know.
anyway, it's just a thought.
Yeah.
You can check into that. And let us
Right.
know.
Just ask.
You know.
But
But we got
they may
we
be
got
able.
another meeting in July, and so you can.
We do. We've got plenty of time.
plenty
So
of time to get that done. Okay, so but the phone call is probably easiest.
the phone call is easiest.
Okay.
And please don't be afraid to call. I mean, we would rather you call and have that payment arrangement on file and avoid any type of disconnection. We don't like it, disconnecting our members' meters. We really don't. I know we've got some members that probably, when that does have to happen, they're angry, and justifiably so. I mean, electricity is important, but we've got policies that we have to abide by too, and it's not fun. We don't like
No.
doing that.
And you don't want to have that because there's a reconnect fee.
There is.
You know,
So call us, let us know. Even if you think I might be able to have it paid by the end of July,
But you might not.
but you might not, call us and let us know. And then if we need to stretch it even just a month to kind of give you that cushion, that's available to you right now. Just let us be on the same page with you. And
Okay.
if you pay it off early, if you don't need as much time as what was originally written into the payment agreement, there's not any penalty for that, for paying it off early.
Okay.
So
No, so that's
just
so that
be
option
open with
is
us.
available, and don't be embarrassed that
No.
I've got this bill and I can't pay it. And I know a lot of people. It's pride. Here you go.
Right.
I don't want to have to do this. You know what? You're not the only one. I mean, it feel that there's a whole bunch of people. Think of all the millions of people who are unemployed that are in the same boat you're in, and they have to figure out how they're going to make those payments as well.
Right.
So make the phone call. It's nothing to be ashamed of. If you have to make a payment plan, make a payment plan.
Right.
If you can pay it all at one time, so be it. Pay
Right.
it all one time, and you're in good shape.
And what'll happen with our prepay members, a lot of members that are on prepay, sometimes when they hear notices like this, well, how does that work for me? And what we did, and some other co-ops did not do this, is that our members that were on prepay were treated the same. We made sure that if they were not able to pay their bill, that they too, their power remained on. So we've got some prepay members that's built up quite a
of a
large balance. The payment agreement will work a little bit differently with them, since they're paying to keep their power on, sort of like putting fuel in your gasoline tank. What we'll do is we'll split, and a percentage of every payment that they make, part of it will go to that past due amount, and part of it will go as a
the
current
current.
credit to their usage. So there's options for our prepay members. So again, call us, let us know, let us work something out, and we can get that signed agreement. That way
But
we can keep your power on.
But the member has to take the initiative.
They do.
They're not going to, Intercounty's not going to call you and say, hey, you're behind. We want to work with you. You have to call them and say, hey, I know I'm behind. Can I get a payment agreement with you guys?
Right.
And they will work with you. So
Yes.
it's up to you to make that phone call. So,
Yes.
July 1st, all the late fees and everything else that were waived, not going to be anymore. So that goes back into enforcement come July 1st.
That's right.
All right, very good. All right, so we have Intercounty getting back to normal. We'll call it normal
Right.
again. All right, now there was a surplus auction. Have they done anything with that on a date yet
No.
that you're aware of?
No, we have not set a date yet. And part of that goes back to the discussion we had on the auditorium. What we do is we set, not the vehicles, obviously, those are outside, but the surplus items that are for sale in that auction are placed in the auditorium. And since that's still closed, we do not have a date yet for the surplus sale.
Probably sometime in the fall, the way it looks right
And
now.
we used to have those in the fall
You
anyway.
did used to have them in the fall.
Right. And speaking of fall, something I would have forgot to mention
Oh my
if you
gosh.
wouldn't have said fall. We always have Member Appreciation Day in October. October is National Co-op Month, and we want to, during that time, help our members recognize that we're different as a co-op. We're not a municipal, we're not investor-owned utilities.
Right.
So October has always been when we celebrated Member Appreciation Day. We are still planning on that.
Okay.
Hopefully we see things get better and better, and you mentioned whatever the new normal might be. We certainly hope that the pandemic is past, and that the threat of any type of virus transmission is no longer around come fall. But what we are kind of tossing around the idea of doing, since we're not able to hand out those goodie bags at annual meeting, but we have some of those things, that may be something that we add to Member
Customer
Appreciation
appreciation,
Day this year. So we still want to make sure that we provide our members with some swag, if you will, and get that stuff out to them. And we'll have some drawings, and I think it'll be a little bit different this year. We're going to kind of bolster that up and make it a little better than what it has been in the past. So
Good. That sounds great.
hopefully Member Appreciation Day will be a little bit of a bigger deal, and we'll be able to visit with members then.
Still
since-
free hot dogs, though, right?
Yeah, we're pushing for hot dogs and burgers. I don't know if that's going to
Ooh,
happen.
Whatever
but
happened to the ice cream? We didn't get our enough members. Did we get our?
yes, we did.
It's okay.
15,113.
Okay, so free ice cream. When's that gonna happen?
Now Stan said that. Heather did not say that.
No, but that was promised.
That was for annual meeting.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll do it next year. October sometimes is pretty cold. I mean, we've had some really cold Member
Yeah, we've had some
Appreciation
really
Days.
Hot.
We've had some really hot. Last year it was beautiful. It was warm. The year before that it was so
yeah, it was
cold. It was just
Rainy
windy and
cold,
rainy and
yeah,
cold. So
nasty day.
October's one of those months you just don't know.
No,
but
no.
I'm not sure
He
about
may
that
have to-
ice
He
cream.
may have to tie his hands behind his back, saying, "What are you gonna do?"
Yeah.
We won ice
I'll
cream.
try to figure that out
Yeah,
and
anyway.
be able to share that next
That'd be
month.
good.
But
Coupon
yeah, if
for
we
a free ice cream cone. Who knows?
something, huh? Well, we're still, got time to plan for the Member
Yeah,
Appreciation
yeah,
Day. And
that's
some of that's up in the air depending on what things look like and kind of what the governor has shared. And
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. But we're pushing to kind of beef it up a little bit and do a little bit more than we have in the past, since we're missing annual meeting and some
Well,
of these
that's true.
fairs possibly. So, yeah,
It may be the only contact you have with people the rest of this year.
it's possible.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Another question I had is, because July 4th falls on a Saturday this year, is the office going to be closed on Friday or Monday?
We'll be closed on Friday. So these observed holidays like 4th of July, Independence Day, if it falls on a Saturday, we are closed that Friday. If it were to fall on a Sunday, then we would be
I
closed on the
understand
Monday.
it's optional this year. You could take either one.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes. The government said you can take either one.
Okay.
You could do Friday or you could do Monday.
We're doing Friday.
Okay,
Just
so-
to keep in line with what we
Okay.
traditionally
Normally
do.
it was, if it's Saturday, it's Friday. If it's Sunday, it's Monday.
I didn't
But
know that they
said
changed
you
that
could-
this year.
No, they gave you
Okay.
the option.
All right.
Well, with all this COVID stuff,
Right.
why not?
Pretty
Why not
they're
change the
flexible
rules?
on everything
Why not
else.
change the rules?
Yeah.
So anyway, so Friday, the 3rd of
We'll be
July, the
closed
office will be closed.
July 3rd. Yep.
Okay, since this meeting, that we won't be able to talk to you before then, we wanted to let people know
Yeah,
that the
good
office will be
point.
closed at that time. Okay.
Our dispatcher, we always, even if our offices are closed for a holiday, just remember that we do have a 24-hour dispatcher service. If you have an emergency, if you have an outage, don't think, oh, it's a holiday. This tree has taken my line down. Chances are we're going to know anyway. We're going to be alerted to that outage. But just to let you know that we do have a dispatcher on call in the office 24 hours a day.
Yeah, not a problem. Very good. Always good to have that. We are in air conditioning season, as you might have noticed.
It's on.
A little bit sticky outside, and sticky is usually a time when the electric bills start to climb a little bit.
Right?
You know, we've often said that one of the great ways, that one of the neat things that Intercounty has offered is levelized billing, and this is for people who don't like those big jumps and spikes in their bills. That is just really the best way to
Right.
take care of that. Now, of course, with Smart Hub, you can see your actual usage as you go through. But Heather, at the same time, we're coming out of a really, I kind of call it the funk spring, because there was really, for most people, no spring.
Right.
March, you were locked inside. April, you didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
And May was all rain. There was no spring.
It's just all rain.
Yeah, I mean, all rain. You know, now June has got quite a bit of rain in itself so
But the
far.
heat's
but
here.
it has been, but it also have had those hot days. One of the things you can't control, well, yeah, I guess you can, but you can't control the weather, but you can control how you approach it with your, your home and your heating and cooling.
Right.
How you have your own things doing. It's just so hard to tell people that, now you're trying to catch up and you get on a payment plan, and then the next thing you know is
Your
you
air
have a
conditioner's been-
huge
Yeah.
bill come July from June, and and then in August it could be high from July, and we just don't know what the weather is going to be.
Right.
So, I know the payment plan is there. If you are going to pay your entire bill, but you don't really want to have to get another big payment like that, take a look at levelized billing. All you got to do is be a member for 12 months.
Right. And levelized billing, if you're not familiar, a lot of our members call it budget billing just
Same
because it
idea.
helps them budget each month. And what we do is we take your average over the past 12 months, and that's going to fluctuate from year to year. You're going to add new things to your home, or maybe you get rid of a less efficient appliance and you replace it. There's lots of changes that can happen.
Just every 12 months.
Each year it's reevaluated, and that levelized amount or that budget amount is refigured, and will set you at the new amount. But it's a great budgeting tool, because it takes, say a member who has electric air conditioning and maybe electric heat also, their winter and summer months are going to be really high bills, and their spring and fall are going to be much lower. And in the spring and fall, you're going to be paying more than what your bill would have been if you would have just paid for your usage during that time. But in the summer and then the winter months, you're going to pay a little bit less, and it's not going to be as much of a shock and hardship to pay those higher bills, because every month this is what my electric bill is going to
the
be.
same.
And at the end of that 12 months, then we'll take a look, and like I said, lots of changes that can happen that can change what your average is. Weather does play a big part of that, unfortunately. But also those changes that we talked about. Maybe you've replaced your refrigerator with an Energy Star.
Sure,
Maybe,
absolutely.
maybe you replace your refrigerator with an Energy Star, but you kept the old one out in the garage. So then you're
Or
not
you bought 2 deep freezes and kept them in the garage.
right. Maybe
Surprise.
you you had someone new move in, or
Yeah.
your household size changed, or maybe you had
If you have an electric water heater and somebody else moves in, you're using more water,
Right.
you're using more.
right. So
And
it
then,
is going to
I mean,
fluctuate.
there's going to be fluctuations. But at the end of 12 months, as you said, they reevaluate, and then they just don't hit you with this huge bill. Or they
Right.
don't give you this huge $500,000 credit,
Right. So if
which
you
really would be nice.
if you used more than what your levelized amount covered, they're not going to ask for you to pay that big chunk at the end of that 12 months. What they'll do is they'll take that, they divide it by 12, and then they add that to your new amount.
Right. A new amount will not be necessarily be the same as the
Right.
last amount.
Right, because if your average changes, then that amount's going to change. And same is true if maybe you've had
less.
a couple teenagers move out. Maybe they
Right.
went off to college and there's not as much
Went from
usage.
electric dryer to a gas dryer.
Right. We're going to take that credit and we're going to divide it over 12 months, and then your levelized amount then could be reduced by that amount. So it really is just a good budgeting tool.
Very good. This isn't normally the time for generators, but I do want to remind everybody that we're not going to talk about the generators themselves. But if you want to be measured for a generator, this is a good time to call the guys out, and they can come out and tell you what size generator you might need for a backup system for your home. And this is, you see a lot of people anymore who require medical attention. They
Right.
have to have things they have to be on. If you have that backup generator, there's a number of different manufacturers of those. Intercounty is not going to sell you a backup generator. They used to do that,
We used to. That's right.
but they don't anymore. But they can tell you the size you're going to need that will keep that electric on. And of course, then you'll have to get your own electrician, get it put in the right way.
Right.
That would automatically come on when the electric goes off, like we had here in town yesterday when somebody yanked wires down across Highway 19.
Oh, no.
Anyway, but it's one of those things. It can happen, and it can happen at any time. But if you have to have it, maybe you have to have that air. You need that air. Maybe you have specific pumps that are required for your health that you have to have.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good time to contact Intercounty, and they can do that for you. And tell you what it is, and then you can go buy your own generator and get your electrician and get it done. But one of the things people don't understand, Heather, and still I've talked to people and they say, I don't want to back up my whole house. Well, you don't
have to. Right. Most people don't, because it's a very expensive option.
Very
Very
expensive.
expensive. Right. But as you mentioned, if there's those things that you have to have, when you start talking about medical equipment, you can have a generator sized just to run some of those essentials, that medical equipment, some lights, maybe. When you start talking about air conditioning, that does increase the size of the
Sure.
generator you're going to need.
But for some people, they have to have it.
Right. And so
Or even heat.
heat,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah,
for in
the
the
whole
winter, if
system.
there's some sort of heating that could be run off that backup generator. So just give us a call, talk to us, let us know what you're needing, and then based on what it is that you're needing to run in the case of an outage, then we can kind of give you a ballpark of, you're going to need this size of a
Right.
generator. So that way, when you do go generator shopping, you've got some information. You're
Right.
coming in with, what you need, as opposed to what that salesman may want to get off the
And the salesman
floor.
will sell you a big enough generator to power New York City if they can. And you just don't need it all. And
Right.
Just remember certain things that you may want to make sure that you do. And it may take some rewiring by your electrician, because you may not have them all on the same breaker or breakers.
Right.
Where this backup generator would be like a freezer, especially if you store a lot of meat.
Mm-hmm.
We do know that with a lot of the auctions that usually come up this time of year, people buy animals and then they have their freezers stocked for the year.
Right.
Well, the last thing you want to have is a freezer go out
That's
for 4
full of-
days.
Oh,
That would not be a good sight when you
No.
open that door. Now, it'll stay good for about a day and a half, 2 days. It won't, as long as you don't open the door, you're
leave
good.
it closed.
Leave it closed. But if you open that door, start looking, like you do at the refrigerator. You open the door, like, what do I want? And that door stays open for 45, 50 seconds. All that cold air goes out. You
Yeah.
know, it happens. But refrigerators, freezers, walk-in freezers, medical equipment, air conditioners, furnaces. You don't need to worry about the TV. You really don't need to worry about the TV. But if you want to, you can do the TV as well. But just remember, the more you add on, the bigger generator you need, and the more it's going to cost you.
That's right.
Okay, now remember, there has to be a backup fuel. So you can't say, okay, well, just stick my Intercounty on there and I'll do solar power. That one hasn't been approved yet. So,
No.
But it's a neat idea, but I haven't seen anybody that's done
I
it yet.
haven't either.
So you either have to have propane or natural gas. That would be your backup fuel that would power the generator. So again, it's not just one thing you have to get another.
Right. And really, when you're purchasing a generator, really pay attention to the safety standards on these. You want to make sure that you're operating them correctly, that you understand how to run them safely and why. And most of those salesmen are going to go over that with you, but definitely read over the information that comes with it, and always call if you have any questions, because we have people ask all the time, well, is it really not okay if I run that in my garage?
It's really not.
It's really not okay. So, understand how to use the equipment that you're purchasing and how to operate it safely.
But I'll leave the window open a crack.
Don't run it inside, Stan. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So give us a call. If you got questions, there are no silly questions. Give us a call. Talk to us about what you're needing. Maybe you've already bought one. Maybe you don't have any type of safety equipment on that. You don't have a double throw or the GeneraLink device, and you've got some questions on that. Give us a call. We'll answer those. We can get set up to have those installed and kind of talk you through some of those safety tips, if you will.
Right. Just another service offered by Intercounty. There's no charge for them to come out and to give you that sizing. There's no charge. I did want to ask one other thing, because I know right now with the COVID-19, obviously people aren't meeting people to talk about things, but engineering services, if you're going to be building a new home, and I know a lot of people have continued to build, so I know they're busy. This is a time of year when they are extremely busy.
Right. And our engineers are still going out and surveying those properties and meeting with our members. They're maintaining social distancing in the field.
That's my comment was, don't expect them to be there ready tomorrow when you're ready.
Right. Yeah. You want to call and get that scheduled, because like you mentioned, it's a busy time of year, even with COVID. So give us a call. Let us know you're looking at having some electric installed. We'll get you to the right engineer. They can schedule time to come out and meet with you, take a look at the property and see what your needs are going to be, where the line can come from, and how far it's going to need to go, and what property it'll have to cross, if it has to cross any property.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not, but that all has to be taken into consideration. So like we always say, just keep us on the same page. Let us know what your plan is, so we can make sure that when you're ready for electricity, we've got it there for you.
Right. And the very last thing that I'm going to ask or
Okay.
remind people is, when you move or change addresses, don't forget Intercounty Electric. You have credits to your name
You do.
that will be forever yours. But when you don't give the forwarding address, or a forwarding address that could go to a relative of yours or something, even if you're going to be moving out of the country, I moved to Australia. Well, leave a forwarding address to your brother or your sister or something.
Right.
That Intercounty can send your capital credit checks when they come available to them, and keep them off of their books and let you get your money back.
Right. So as a member-owned co-op, we're not for profit. And any extra margins that are made above and beyond what we need to operate, those go back to our members.
Right.
And that's based on their amount of kilowatt hours consumed. So that's how yours is different than mine, because
Sure.
we use different amounts.
Sure.
And those capital credits are payable to our members. But as you mentioned, we have to be able to
Find
get
them.
those to you. And if we don't know what your address is, then it's impossible for us at that point. So we do always publish a list. We'll have that list in the in the August edition of the Rural Missouri.
But it's
And
so
we'll
many
share it online.
pages.
It is. It's a lot of people, a lot of members who we have capital credit checks waiting for. We just don't know how to get the money to them.
Right. So if you do move and you're moving, maybe if you're staying within Intercounty, that's fine, and you
Right,
can just
then
give
we'll
your
have
new
your address.
But if you're moving away from the area, and when you disconnect your service, just remember to send them the new address card or give them the new address.
Right.
I'm canceling my service effective this day, and this is my new address.
Right.
Or send anything to this address. Like I said, it could be a brother or a sister, because you may not have, like in the case here in Den County, you might be building a new home somewhere and you have to get an address. You don't have one yet. You have to go to the rural addressing people. They have to go out, measure, and then tell you what your address is, because it's based upon the system that they have. So you may not be able to know what your address is at that moment, but at least send it somewhere where there is a known address.
Right. And a lot of times what happens that first time they move off of our system, they do give us that forwarding address. They call, they cancel the service. We're going to be moving on such and such date. This is the address that we're going to be moving to. That typically isn't the problem. It's the next time they move. When they move again, and then maybe they notify their current electric provider of what their forwarding
Intercounty's
address is.
out of sight, out of mind.
They've kind of forgotten about us. So a lot of times that's what we see, is that second move, and that's easy to forget. Well, why do you have to notify your 2 times ago electric provider? So even if you're still a member of the co-op and you're getting your capital credit checks when they come, if you can take a look through that list, those are always alphabetized by last name. Look through there. If you see someone and you know how to get a hold of them, either, phone or in person, or social media makes it easy nowadays to stay in touch with people that move off. Let them know, hey, your name's in the Intercounty paper. They've got money for you. And then hopefully that'll kind of remind them, oh, I need to call them so I can start getting that check.
It's kind of like going on to unclaimed property on the state side, too.
Right.
That's a little harder to get.
It is harder to get.
Yeah. My brother's got money there, and I've printed off the papers for him. I said, we'll fill them out. That's too much work.
You just got to give us a call. We'll update your address.
Yeah, and in one case, his ex-wife passed away, and they had things together.
Right.
Well, now they want to see
Complicates
this, and they want to see this. And I'm like, really? All you got to do is go to Bureau of Records, look at the death certificate.
Yeah.
What's the question? I don't get
Yeah.
it. But anyway. Oh, well, sometimes it gets a little insane for some. And I understand the protections you
Right.
gotta have. People make claims all the time. Yeah, that's my money. But it's a little bit. Some of my things I think are a little bit too crazy.
Yeah.
Too much work. And then you got people that say, well, I don't want to go through all that to get that done.
Right.
I can understand. All right, very good. Well, I'll tell you, I don't have anything else unless you have something else that you would like to.
Let me leave some contact information.
Hey, what an idea.
That's always good.
Because people, again, if you are going to be in this position where you are going to be behind beginning July 1st, those bills will have to either be caught up or you need to make a payment plan.
That's right. So give us a call at 866-621-3679, and we can get that payment arrangement set up for you. Maybe you're not needing a payment arrangement. Maybe you've got a question about something else we talked about, or something that we didn't touch on that you have questions on. You can always give us a call at that number. You can visit us online at ieca.coop. That's our website. Or if you're on Facebook, you can search for Intercounty Electric and follow us on there. And we try to share some safety tips and energy efficiency, but then also, information about annual meeting changes and
opening the lobby.
Opening the lobby. This, what we talked about, the notice about needing to make payment arrangements, that type of information we share on there. So
very good.
Search for us on there.
Very good. Very good. Now, if you'd like to make a payment, you don't call that your 800 number.
Right.
You don't call that number. They don't do that anymore on that number. You have to call a special payment number.
We do. We have a secure automated line where you're entering your own either bank account information or your debit or credit card information. So if you're wanting to make a payment by phone, you can call us at 888-678-1987. And that number is available 24/7. So just because our business offices may be closed, it doesn't matter. You can still call that automated line and make a payment at any time.
Absolutely. Very good. I have nothing else.
Okay. It was
All
good
right.
to see you today.
It was always good to see you, Heather. And of course, again, if you have any questions for your friends in Intercounty, they remember the lobby now back open, but they do enforce the social distancing. So remember, just 2 people in at a time.
Right.
So don't rush them en masse and think you're going to get something accomplished. Just work with them, and they work with you. And of course, we did not mention Roundup meeting today. And again, Roundup cannot be used for intercounty electric payments.
Right. So anything but electric payment. Well, I say anything.
Well, there are probably some limitations. Yeah. But other sources, if you
Right.
have something else. And right now at this time, there's probably, I would probably expected to see that quite a few applications may
Yeah,
come
I
in.
don't know how many was on the agenda for today, but I imagine it was probably higher than normal.
Yeah, I would think so. I would
But-
think so. So anyway, if you have any questions about Roundup, just give them a call at their regular number and they can handle
Yeah.
it. Or go on to the website, iuca.coop, and there is a section on there about Roundup. You
Right.
can read about it. And if you're not signed up for it, shame on you. Makes your bill paying a lot easier. And you get a tax-deductible contribution at the end of the year.
You do.
It's not going to be more than $12, but it's still okay. It's a little bit, every little bit helps, right?
It does. Yep. And it helps our members. Well,